Kang Duha wiped the sweat from his forehead as he crawled through the old alien ship's maintenance tunnel. The metal walls felt cold against his hands, and his work light cast strange shadows all around him. This was his third repair job of the day at the Busan Interstellar Port, and it was already getting dark outside. "Hey, Duha, how's it going up there?" Lee Sun-mi's voice echoed through his earpiece. She was his best friend and fellow mechanic, always checking on him when he took the tricky repair jobs. "I'm fine," Duha said, shining his light ahead. "This old ship is weird, though. The repair manual doesn't match anything I'm seeing." The ship belonged to a trader from some far-off star system. It was at least 200 years old, maybe older. Most mechanics had refused to work on it, saying it was too strange and too old. But Duha liked challenges, and the pay was good. He reached a junction in the tunnel and stopped. According to the manual, there should be a power coupling here. Instead, he found a small door covered in dust and strange symbols. Duha knew he should probably call his supervisor, but curiosity got the better of him. "I found something interesting," he told Sunmei. "Give me a minute." The door wasn't locked. It opened with a soft hiss, revealing a tiny room no bigger than a closet. His light showed empty shelves covered in more strange writing. But in the corner, something caught his eye. A folded piece of fabric. Duha reached for it carefully. The fabric felt weird, almost alive under his fingers. It was dirty and stiff, like it hadn't been washed in ages, but it shifted colors where he touched it, from deep purple to bright blue to gentle green. "Sunmai, you won't believe what I just found," he said, carefully unfolding the fabric. It was about the size of a bath towel, but it was unlike anything he'd ever seen. The whole thing rippled with colors, and he could feel a slight vibration coming from it. "Donna, what did you find?" Sunmai sounded worried. "Please tell me you're not touching weird alien stuff again." "It's just a towel," he said, but even as the words left his mouth, the fabric pulsed with light. Patterns began forming on its surface, circles, lines, and shapes that seemed to move on their own. Suddenly, his work light flickered and died. But he wasn't in darkness. The towel was glowing now, casting a soft blue light around him. And strangest of all, he could hear something. Not with his ears, but somehow in his mind. It was like a whisper, but made of colors and feelings instead of words. "Duha, answer me." Sunmai was shouting now. "Your life signs just went weird on my monitor." He tried to drop the towel, but it had wrapped itself around his arm. Not tightly or painfully. It felt more like a handshake, like it was trying to say hello. "I'm okay," he said quickly, trying to keep his voice calm. "But I think this towel is alive. And I think it's been waiting for someone to find it for a very long time." The towel pulsed again, and this time the message in his mind was clearer. It was a number. 50,000. That's how many years it had been waiting here, hidden in this forgotten corner of an old ship. "Don't move," Sunmai said. "I'm coming up there." But Duha barely heard her. The towel was showing him things now. Images of strange cities, of beings made of mist and light, of great machines and terrible wars. And through it all, one clear thought came through. Finally, a mechanic, just what we needed. Duha sat there, in the cramped maintenance tunnel, holding a dirty alien towel that was somehow alive, and realized his normal life had just ended. He wasn't sure if he should be excited or terrified. Maybe both. The adventure was just beginning. Sunmai stared at the towel spread out on Duha's workbench. They had snuck it out of the ship and into his private repair bay after their shift ended. The port's night lights glowed through the windows, casting long shadows across the room. "You need to turn it in," she said, keeping her distance. "Unknown alien artifacts are dangerous." Duha shook his head. The towel was still changing colors where it touched his hands, making patterns that looked almost like writing. "It's not dangerous. It's trying to talk to me." As if to prove his point, the towel suddenly lit up with bright swirls of color. The patterns moved faster now, forming shapes that looked like stars and galaxies. "We are Memory Keeper," a voice whispered in Duha's mind. It wasn't exactly words, more like feelings and pictures that his brain turned into words. "We are what remains of the Mist Weavers." "It's talking again," Duha said to Sunme. "It says it's called Memory Keeper. It belongs to something called the Mist Weavers." Sunme stepped closer, curious despite her fear. "Ask it what the Mist Weavers are, or were." The towel's colors darkened to deep blue and purple. Images filled Duha's mind. Tall, graceful beings made of swirling mist, their bodies contained in shimmering fabric like the towel itself. He saw their cities, floating in space, made of light and energy. He saw them building amazing machines, creating fabric that could think and feel. "They were engineers," Duha said slowly, trying to understand everything the towel was showing him. "Amazing engineers. They made living machines, thinking cloth. But something happened to them. They're gone now." Memory Keeper pulsed with sadness. More images came. A great disaster, a desperate plan, the Mist Weavers transferring their minds into their special fabric. Then darkness, sleep, waiting. "It's not just a towel," Duha realized. "It's one of them. A Mist Weaver preserved in fabric form. It's been waiting here all this time, looking for someone who could understand its technology." Sunmai sat down hard in a nearby chair. That's impossible. Fabric can't think. It can't be alive." But even as she said it, Memory Keeper began to move on its own. It lifted itself off the workbench and floated in the air. It folded and unfolded itself, making shapes that shouldn't have been possible. Then it gently wrapped around Duha's arm again. "We chose you," the feeling voice said in his mind. "You understand machines. You can help us wake the others." "Others?" Duha asked out loud. "There are more of you." The answer came in a flood of images, huge networks of dormant machinery hidden throughout the galaxy, waiting to be awakened, ancient knowledge that could change everything. And a warning: they weren't the only ones looking for this technology. "Duha," Sunmai said quietly, "your arm is glowing." He looked down, where Memory Keeper touched his skin. Tiny patterns of light were spreading like circuit boards just under the surface. It didn't hurt. In fact, it felt right somehow, like his brain was connecting to a vast library of engineering knowledge. "I think," he said slowly, "this is just the beginning. Memory Keeper wants to teach me things, important things." A new image appeared in his mind. People in dark clothes, searching through old ships, hunting for something. Hunting for Memory Keeper. "And I think we need to be careful," he added. "We're not the only ones who know about the Mist Weavers. Someone else is looking for them." The lights in the repair bay flickered, and both Duha and Sunmi jumped. But it was just the night shift starting their rounds. "We need to hide it," Sunmai said, finally accepting the situation. "And you need to learn everything you can, as fast as you can." Duha nodded. The patterns of light on his arm pulsed in agreement. The real work was about to begin. Duha knew something was wrong the moment he entered the repair bay the next morning. His tools weren't in their usual places. Someone had been through his things. Memory Keeper was safely hidden inside his jacket, pressed against his chest. The towel had spent all night teaching him things, showing him how Mistweaver technology worked. His dreams had been full of strange machines and glowing circuits. "Duha," Sunmai ran into the bay, out of breath. "We have trouble. Kim Ta-Won is here." His heart sank. Everyone at the port knew about Kim Ta-Won, the famous Zen archaeologist who specialized in finding alien artifacts. Some said he sold them to private collectors for huge amounts of money. "He's asking questions about yesterday's repair job," Sunmai said. Someone told him about the strange readings from the old ship. Just then, Memory Keeper trembled against Duha's chest. A warning flashed through his mind. Danger, threat, hide. The towel could sense something bad coming. The repair bay door opened. Kim Ta-won walked in, followed by two large men in dark suits. He was shorter than Du-ha expected, with expensive clothes and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Ah, young Kang Du-ha," Ta-won said. "I'd like to talk about what you found yesterday." "I didn't find anything," Du-ha said. "The ship just needed normal repairs." Ta-won's smile disappeared. "Don't lie to me, boy. Our sensors detected Mistweaver energy signatures. Do you know how long I've been hunting for their artifacts?" Memory Keeper sent another warning. These men had hurt other artifacts before, destroyed them trying to steal their secrets. "I don't know what you're talking about," Du-ha said, but his voice shook slightly. "Search the bay," Ta-won ordered his men. Sun-me stepped forward. "You need a warrant for that." "I have something better." Ta-won pulled out an official-looking badge. "Government authorization. We're taking everything here for inspection." Du-ha felt Memory Keeper pulse against his chest. The towel was angry now, and scared. Suddenly, all the lights in the repair bay exploded. Sparks rained down as the room plunged into darkness. "Run!" Sun-me grabbed Du-ha's arm. They sprinted for the emergency exit as Ta-won shouted behind them. They ran through the port's back alleys, past surprised workers and confused robots. Du-ha could hear running footsteps behind them. Memory Keeper was helping, turning off lights and closing doors to slow down their pursuers. "We need help," Sun-me gasped as they ran. "I know someone. Park Jae-yun. She used to work for military intelligence. She helps people who are in trouble." "Can we trust her?" "More than we can trust Ta-won." They ducked into a crowded shipping area. Huge cargo containers provided good cover. Du-ha pulled out his phone, while Sun-me kept watch. "Found her address," he said. "It's on the other side of the city." Memory Keeper suddenly sent him a clear image, a maintenance tunnel that ran under the port, connecting to the city's old subway system. They could use it to escape. "This way," Du-ha said, pulling Sun-me toward a maintenance hatch. Memory Keeper knows a way out. As they climbed down into the tunnel, they heard Ta-won's angry voice above them. "Find them. That artifact is worth more than your lives." The hatch clanged shut above them. In the darkness, Memory Keeper glowed softly, lighting their way forward. The towel was teaching Du-ha something new now. How to hide, how to run, how to survive. They had just become fugitives, but they had no choice. Memory Keeper was too important to fall into the wrong hands. Park Jae-yun's home was small and plain, hidden in an old apartment building. But Du-ha could tell it was special. Memory Keeper sensed hidden security systems everywhere. In the walls, under the floor, even in the plants by the door. Jae-yun herself was a short woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She listened quietly as Sun-me explained their situation. "Show me," Jae-yun said when they finished. Du-ha carefully took Memory Keeper out of his jacket. The towel glowed softly in the dim room, its colors shifting like a gentle ocean. "Ah," Jae-yun said. "The Mistweaver artifact. I've only seen pictures before." Memory Keeper suddenly lit up bright blue. Images flooded Du-ha's mind. Jae-yun, much younger, protecting other alien artifacts from people like Ta-won. "It knows you," Du-ha said. "You helped save other artifacts." Jae-yun nodded. "Many aliens left things behind on Earth. Some people want to use them as weapons. I tried to stop that." The towel floated up from Du-ha's hands. It spread out in the air, showing moving pictures like a movie screen. Du-ha, Sun-me, and Jae-yun watched in amazement as the story of the Mistweavers played out before them. They saw vast machines hidden in space, sleeping for 50,000 years. The machines could change whole planets, build cities in seconds, even move stars. But they needed special keys to wake them up. The towels are keys, Du-ha realized. Memory Keeper isn't just a record of their civilization. It can control their old machines. More images appeared, other aliens finding Mistweaver artifacts, trying to use them. The artifacts burned out, destroying themselves rather than be misused. "Why did you choose me?" Duha asked Memory Keeper. The answer came in feelings and pictures. His gentle hands fixing machines. His curiosity about how things worked. His kindness. The Mist Weavers had been looking for someone who would understand their technology, but not abuse it. Taiwan isn't working alone, Jai-yun said suddenly. Those government papers he showed, they were real. Someone powerful wants this technology. Memory Keeper pulsed with worry. It showed them more. Alien ships hiding near Earth, watching, waiting. They were looking for Mistweaver artifacts too. How many groups are hunting for this? Sunma asked. Too many, Jai-yun said. Earth governments, alien collectors, private armies. The Mistweavers were the most advanced civilization ever known. Everyone wants their power. Duha felt Memory Keeper wrap around his arm again. The towel was teaching him faster now, showing him how its circuits worked, how it controlled machines. Glowing lines spread across his skin like a map of stars. Something's coming, he said as new knowledge filled his mind. The Mistweavers didn't hide their machines for no reason. They were preparing for something. Something bad. What do we do? Sunma asked. We run, Jai-yun said. I have a safe place off-planet. But we have to hurry. Once they realize what Duha can do with that artifact, nowhere on Earth will be safe. Memory Keeper showed Duha one last image. A massive machine floating in the Kuiper Belt, covered in ice, waiting to wake up. Whatever was coming, the answers were out there in space. He looked at Sunma and Jai-yun. We're not running away. We're running toward something. The real mystery is just beginning. Jai-yun's spaceship was small but fast. As they flew through the dark space between Earth and Mars, Duha sat in the cargo hold, learning from Memory Keeper. The towel had much to teach him. Try again, Memory Keeper's thoughts guided him. Feel the machine's heart. Duha reached out with his mind toward the ship's engine. The glowing lines on his skin brightened. Suddenly, he could see the engine in his head. Every part, every wire, every drop of fuel. It was like having X-ray vision that could see through walls. The fuel injector is slightly bent, he said. It's wasting 2% of our fuel. Sunma watched from the doorway, worried. Your eyes are glowing blue again. Are they? Duha hadn't noticed. Every day, he changed a little more. The Mistweaver technology was becoming part of him. Memory Keeper floated up, showing them images. The Mistweavers had also changed when they first made their living machines. Their bodies had slowly merged with their creations until they became beings of pure energy. Is that happening to me? Duha asked. Your brain patterns are changing, Sunma said. She held up her scanner. The towel isn't just teaching you. It's upgrading you. Memory Keeper pulsed apologetically. It hadn't meant to change him, but the connection between them was growing stronger every day. Duha could now sense machines from far away, could understand alien technology just by touching it. Look at this, he said. He held out his hand, and a broken robot in the corner suddenly came to life. Its parts floated up, rearranging themselves, fixing themselves. In seconds, it was working perfectly again. That's impossible, Sunma whispered. Not impossible, Jai-yun said from the ship's door. This is what Mistweaver technology can do. It's why everyone wants it. The ship's alarm suddenly began to beep. 3 ships had appeared behind them. Sleek, black vessels with no markings. Taiwan found us, Jai-yun said. Those are government ships. But Duha wasn't scared. For the first time, he felt ready. Memory Keeper had taught him enough. He placed his hand on the ship's wall. Glowing lines spread from his fingers, covering the whole ship. In his mind, he could see every system, every circuit. The ship wasn't just a machine anymore. It was alive, like Memory Keeper. Hold on, he said. The ship's engines changed, becoming something new, something that wasn't human technology anymore. They blazed with blue fire as the ship jumped forward faster than any human ship could fly. Behind them, The black ships grew smaller and smaller until they vanished completely. "What did you do?" Sunmay asked in amazement. "I woke up the metal," Duha said. "That's what the Mist Weavers did. They taught machines to live." Memory Keeper glowed with pride, but also with worry. The changes in Duha were happening faster than expected. Soon, he would have to make a choice: stay human or become something else entirely. "We need to hurry," Jai-Yun said. "The Kuiper Belt is still far away, and now they know what you can do." Duha nodded, feeling the ship's new life humming around him. The glowing lines on his skin pulsed in time with the engine's beat. He was becoming something new, something between human and Mist Weaver. He just hoped he would still be himself when the change was done. The ship landed on Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Through the window, Duhe could see the orange clouds and lakes of liquid methane. It was a good place to hide while they planned their next move. Jai-Yun gathered them in the ship's small kitchen. Her face was serious as she placed a data tablet on the table. "I got a message from my old contacts," she said. "Earth's government knows everything now. They know what Memory Keeper can do. They know what Duha is becoming." Memory Keeper floated nearby, its colors dark with worry. Through their connection, Duha could feel its fear. "They want to use you," Jai-Yun continued. "They think you can help them control all the old Mist Weaver machines. They want weapons." "That's not what this technology is for," Duha said. The glowing lines on his skin pulsed with anger. "They're giving you a choice," Jai-Yun said. "Come back willingly and work for them, or be hunted as a threat to Earth's security." Sun Mi hit the table with her fist. "That's not a choice. They just want to control you." Memory Keeper suddenly spread out like a screen, showing two possible futures. In one, Duha saw himself in a government lab, forced to wake up Mist Weaver weapons. The weapons destroyed whole planets. In the other future, he was running, always hiding, but free to use the technology the right way. "There's something else," Jai-Yun said quietly. "Something in Memory Keeper's pattern. I've been studying it." She pointed to a repeating design in the towel's fabric. "It's not just decoration. It's coordinates." Duha looked closer. Now that she mentioned it, he could see it too. A map hidden in the pattern, showing the way to something important. "It leads to a sanctuary," Sunmai said, looking at her scanner. "Some kind of hidden base in the Kuiper Belt." Memory Keeper pulsed with excitement. More images filled Duha's mind. A vast station hidden in the ice, filled with sleeping machines and more artifacts like Memory Keeper. "That's where we'll find answers," Duha said, "about why the Mist Weavers hid their technology, about what they were preparing for." "The government ships are still searching for us," Jai-Yun warned. "Getting to the Kuiper Belt won't be easy." Duha stood up. The glowing lines now covered most of his body, making patterns like circuits under his skin. He wasn't just a mechanic anymore. He wasn't even fully human, but he knew what he had to do. "We're going to the sanctuary," he said. "Memory Keeper chose me for a reason. Whatever the Mist Weavers were protecting us from, it's more important than what Earth's government wants." Sunna stood with him. "I'm with you. Someone needs to keep you from doing anything too crazy." "We'll need supplies," Jai-Yun said, "and a better ship for the deep space journey." Memory Keeper wrapped around Duha's shoulders like a cape, its colors bright with purpose. Together, they would find the truth, no matter what tried to stop them. The Kuiper Belt was a vast ring of ice and rock at the edge of the solar system. Duha stood at the ship's controls, following the map hidden in Memory Keeper's pattern. The glowing lines on his skin lit up the dark bridge. "There," he said, pointing to what looked like a large, dirty snowball floating in space. "The sanctuary is inside that ice." Their new ship was bigger than Jai-Yun's old one, with better shields and engines that Duha had modified with Mist Weaver technology. They needed every advantage. 3 government ships were still chasing them, barely visible on their long-range sensors. The first Weaver's chamber filled with light as it showed them the full truth. Duha, Sunmai, and Jai-Yun watched as the story of the Mist Weavers unfolded around them. We were not the first civilization to face the enemy, the first Weaver's thoughts explained. Many came before us. All fell. The images showed vast empires of different alien species, all destroyed by something that moved between the stars like a dark cloud. Wherever it passed, suns went dark and planets died. It feeds on energy, Memory Keeper added. Light, heat, life. It consumes everything. And it grows stronger with each world it takes. Why did you turn yourselves into fabric? Duha asked. The glowing lines under his skin pulsed with the station's power. To hide, the first Weaver answered. The enemy cannot sense us in this form. We could sleep, wait, and prepare. We knew someone would come who could help us fight. More images appeared, the Mist Weavers building their machines, creating their living technology. But they hadn't built weapons. Instead, they had made something else. We found a way to share energy, Memory Keeper explained. To connect minds and machines, to make dead things live. The enemy takes energy. We learned to give it freely, to share it between all living things. Sun Me looked at her scanner. The station is doing something. Energy patterns I've never seen before. She was right. All around them, the sleeping artifacts were connecting to each other, forming a vast web of light and power. Duhe could feel it through his link with Memory Keeper, thousands of minds joining together, sharing their strength. Your human technology fights by taking, the first Weaver said. Weapons that destroy, engines that burn fuel. But true power comes from giving, from sharing, from connecting. That's why you chose a mechanic, Jai-Yun realized. Someone who fixes things instead of breaking them. Duha understood now. The glowing lines weren't just changing him. They were connecting him to everything around him. He could feel the station's heart beating with his own. Alarm sounded. Jai-Yun checked her tablet. Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. But they're not human ships. Through the station's sensors, they saw them. Huge black shapes moving against the stars, darker than space itself. The enemy had found them. We are not ready, Memory Keeper said with worry. We need more time to wake everyone. But Duha stepped forward. The connection between him and the Mist Weaver technology was complete now. He understood what they had to do. We don't fight them, he said. We show them another way. The Mist Weavers learn to share energy instead of taking it. Maybe the enemy can learn too. The first Weaver's colors brightened with hope. Yes, this is why we chose you. Not to destroy, but to teach. All around them, the sanctuary hummed with power as ancient machines woke up. The final battle would not be fought with weapons, but with understanding. They had to show the enemy that eats light that there was another way to live. The enemy's ships surrounded the sanctuary, their darkness deeper than space itself. Inside the station, Duha stood with Memory Keeper wrapped around his shoulders. The glowing lines on his skin shone brighter than ever. They're trying to drain the station's power, Sun Mai said, watching her screens. Temperature dropping. Systems failing. But Duha wasn't afraid. Let them try to take the energy, he said. We'll give it to them instead. He placed his hands on the station's walls. Through his connection to the Mist Weaver technology, he could feel every machine, every artifact, every spark of power in the sanctuary. They weren't just separate things anymore. They were all one system, all connected. Now, he said. The first Weaver spread out like wings of light. All around them, the sleeping artifacts woke up fully. Thousands of glowing fabrics filled the air, each containing the mind of a Mist Weaver. They didn't fight the darkness. They welcomed it. Share with them, Duha told the station. Show them what the Mist Weavers learned. Energy flowed out from the sanctuary, but not in a way the enemy expected. Instead of letting them drain it, the station freely gave its power. The Mist Weaver artifacts wrapped around the dark ships, not to attack, but to connect. Look, Jai-Yun whispered. Through the station's windows, they could see the enemy ships changing. The darkness that ate light was being filled with light freely given. It was like watching ice melt in warm water. "They're confused," Memory Keeper said. "They've never met anything that didn't fight back, that didn't try to keep its energy for itself." Dua felt the enemy's surprise through the connection. For 50,000 years, they had only known how to take. Now they were learning how to receive, how to share. "The government ships are here," Sunmai reported. 3 Earth vessels appeared at the edge of the battle. "Show them to," Dua said. The sanctuary's light reached out to the human ships. Through the connections Duha had made, they could all see the truth. Mist weavers, humans, and even the enemy that eats light, all sharing the same energy, all part of the same great pattern. Slowly, the darkness began to fade. The enemy ships weren't black anymore. They glowed with shared light, becoming part of the network instead of trying to drain it. "They understand now," the first weaver said. "When energy is shared freely, no one needs to steal it." 1 year later, Earth's first Mist Weaver Academy opened its doors. Duha stood in front of the new students, Memory Keeper floating beside him like an old friend. The glowing lines under his skin had become permanent marks of his connection to the living machines. "Technology isn't about power over things," he told his students. "It's about connection between things. The Mist Weavers taught us that. Now we'll teach others." In orbit above Earth, the former enemy ships floated peacefully, learning to give light instead of taking it. The age of fighting over energy was ending. A new age of sharing had begun. And it all started with a dirty old towel that waited 50,000 years to be found by just the right mechanic.